Okay, dear students, in the previous class, we have studied about the molar conductivity and the variation in the molar conductivity with concentration we have studied. Usually, the molar conductivity increases with the increase in the dilution. That is different for the strong electrolytes as well as weak electrolytes. We know that in case of the strong electrolytes, the molar conductivity will be more when compared to that of weak electrolytes. But here in case of the strong electrolytes, increase in the dilution, the increase in the molar conductivity or the relative increase in the molar conductivity will be very less. But in the case of weak electrolytes, that is different. In case of weak electrolyte, the molar conductivity increases with increase in the dilution, because the degree of ionization of the weak electrolyte always increases. That is what with increase in the dilution. As you know that already, d by Ekl-Onsager equation. According to that equation, we know that how to plot the graph and all. That is lambda m against square root of concentration. If you plot, we get the straight line curvature. That is for the strong electrolytes. In case of the strong electrolyte, the straight line approaches what that concentration axis or zero concentration, or that is what the y-axis. So that is called extrapolation method. By means of extrapolation method, it is possible to determine the limiting molar conductivity of the strong electrolytes. In the same manner, it is not possible to determine the limiting molar conductivity for weak electrolytes by extrapolation method. Because when we plot a graph for the weak electrolytes, that is lambda m against square root of the concentration, we are getting the curvature, and the straight line which is parallel to the y-axis is obtained. Means for every dilution there will be increase in the degree of ionization as well as the increase in the molar concentration. That is the molar conductivity will be increasing. Hence it never approaches that zero concentration. For every dilution, the degree of ionization increases, means the steep line obtained which is parallel to that y-axis. Therefore, for weak electrolytes, it is not possible to determine the limiting molar conductivity. Okay. Now we shall study about the concept what is called determination of limiting molar conductivity of weak electrolytes. We already know that concept. How to determine the limiting molar conductivity of the weak electrolytes? So it is determined by means of what? Kohlrausch law. What is that Kohlrausch law? You know that here. Kohlrausch law is also called as law of independent migration of ions. Kohlrausch law is also known as independent migration of ions or law of independent migration of ions. According to Kohlrausch, for every dilution, we know the degree of ionization increases, means the molar conductivity of electrolyte increases only. Following. Here in the case of the infinite dilution or a infinite dilution condition, each and every ion makes a definite contribution towards the molar conductivity of electrolyte, because each ion will move independently. That is called independent migration of ions. That gives what some contribution towards the molar conductivity of electrolyte. Then what is the statement for the law? What is that Kohlrausch law? You know that here Kohlrausch law means what? The statement is like this: at infinite dilution, when dissociation is complete, each ion makes a definite contribution towards molar conductivity of an electrolyte, irrespective of nature of other ions with which it is associated. Even mathematically it is given by like this: limiting molar conductivity of weak electrolyte is equal to nu plus into lambda plus naught plus nu minus into lambda minus naught. Here nu plus and nu minus are the number of the moles of cations and anions in that solution, and lambda plus naught and lambda minus naught are the molar conductivity of the cation and anion. So this is what is called Kohlrausch law. Means it is the molar conductivity of all the ions present in that solution, sum of the contributions made by the ions in the solution. That is what now? Kohlrausch law. So you should understand the statement carefully. At infinite dilution, when the dissociation is complete, each ion makes a definite contribution towards the molar conductivity of an electrolyte, irrespective of the nature of other ions with which it is associated. So usually 1 mark or it may be the 2 marks questions will be asked, and it is very important one. Using the Kohlrausch law, we can find or it is possible to determine the limiting molar conductivity of weak electrolytes. For example, according to the Kohlrausch law, how to write the magnesium chloride? Suppose it is one of the example. Magnesium chloride, it is one of the electrolyte. First of all, you should know the ionization. Magnesium chloride in a solution, it ionizes like this. It gives what magnesium ion, that is Mg+2 in aqueous state, and Cl- ion in aqueous state. You know that MgCl2, magnesium chloride, when dissolved in water, it undergoes a dissociation completely and giving one magnesium ion, that is Mg+2, and 2 chloride ions, that is 2 moles of Cl- ions. This is the ionization of the magnesium chloride. Then how to find the limiting molar conductivity of this magnesium chloride? That is limiting molar conductivity of MgCl2 is equal to limiting molar conductivity of the magnesium ion, Mg+2 ion. It is only 1 mole will be there, plus 2 into the limiting molar conductivity of the Cl- ion. Following, the molar conductivity of the cations and anions will be given. So that it is possible to determine the limiting molar conductivity of the magnesium chloride. In the same manner, we can write for another example, limiting molar conductivity of aluminum chloride. Here limiting molar conductivity of aluminum ion, that is +3 charge, and 3 into the limiting molar conductivity of the Cl- ion. Following all of you. In this way, we can represent for any type of the electrolyte the limiting molar conductivity of the given electrolytic substances. Here nu plus for magnesium ion is 1, nu minus for chloride ion, that is 2 only. Here for magnesium ion, it is for chloride ion. Similarly, in case of aluminum chloride, nu plus for aluminum is 1 only, that is 1 mole, and for chloride ion, that is 3 moles only. This is the representation of what that Kohlrausch law. According to Kohlrausch law, we can write or we can determine the molar conductivity of the different electrolytes in this manner. Okay, suppose I give the another type of the examples. Another type of example. How to determine the limiting molar conductivity of weak electrolytes using the molar conductivity of the strong electrolytes. Okay, just listen to me. How to find the limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid CH3COOH. We have to find the limiting molar conductivity of the acetic acid. Acetic acid is one of the weak electrolyte. Using the molar conductivity of hydrochloric acid and limiting molar conductivity of NaCl and limiting molar conductivity of CH3COONA will be given. Limiting molar conductivity of these substances will be given. We have to find the limiting molar conductivity of what? Acetic acid. How to find the limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid? Here acetic acid is weak electrolyte. HCl is strong electrolyte. NaCl also strong electrolyte. One CH3CON also strong electrolyte. Using these strong electrolytes, limiting molar conductivity of the strong electrolytes, how to find the limiting molar conductivity of the acetic acid? Usually these kind of the questions appear definitely in the examinations, even in the competitive exams also. So first of all, we should know that how to represent the Kohlrausch law for this. That is for limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid. Okay, first of all, we have to take this one. Limiting molar conductivity of CH3 COOH, okay, COH. This is equal to, just I represent here, no, CH3 COOH gives rise to two types of ions. That is, one is called CH3CO minus ion, and then what, no, H plus ion. Okay, here now we have to use one tactic. How to represent the Kohlrausch law? How to represent the Kohlrausch law? You take now, in the case of this acetic acid, CH3 COO minus ion will be there, and H plus ion is also present in that. The limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid, the contribution made by what? These two ions. Which one? Acetate ion and H plus ions. Now even though we have to take these electrolytes, like what, HCl is there, NaCl is there, even CH3CON, that is the sodium acetate, is also present in that. How to find that one? You have to just add and subtract Na plus and Cl minus Cl. You just add and subtract Na plus ion and Cl minus ion to this one. You listen to me. CH3 COO minus ion plus H plus ion, then plus Na plus ion and minus Na plus ion, plus Cl minus ion and minus Cl minus ion. Okay, listen. The contribution made by hydrochloric acid, sodium chloride and sodium acetate will be there. Now here, no, just add and subtract the sodium ion and chloride ion. How it is possible? This is acetic acid. In this, no, CH3CO minus ion will be there, H plus will be there. To this you add Na plus and subtract on Na plus. Add Cl minus and subtract Cl minus also. Now on rearranging, or on rearrangement, what we get to tell me? Listen. CH3 COO minus ion, then you take, no, plus Na plus ion, plus you take, no, H plus ion, plus you take, no, Cl minus ion, minus you take, no, Na plus ion, minus Cl minus ion. Following. Okay, finally you can write limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid is equal to limiting molar conductivity of CH3 COO Na, okay, limiting molar conductivity of HCl, okay, minus limiting molar conductivity of NaCl. Because no, in the dilute solutions, the Na plus ion will be present, even Cl minus ion also present. Here H plus and Cl minus present. Here, no, acetate ion and Na plus ion will be present. But no, we don't require the limiting molar conductivity of Na plus and Cl minus ion. So that we have to deduct here. This is the relation given by the Kohlrausch. According to the Kohlrausch law, for any kind of the weak electrolytes, suppose you know that in case of acetic acid, CH3CO minus and H plus will be present. In sodium acetate, no, acetate ion will be there. In case of no hydrochloric acid, H plus ion will be there, because H plus present in the acetic acid and CH3CO minus acetate ion also present in the acetic acid, but not Na plus and Cl minus. Hence, now we are deducting a limiting molar conductivity of the NaCl. So this is one of the example for what, no, determination of the limiting molar conductivity of weak electrolytes by using the limiting molar conductivities of the strong electrolytes. And values of the limiting molar conductivity of these salts will be given, or these electrolytes will be given. Suppose the limiting molar conductivity of sodium acetate will be given, limiting molar conductivity of HCl will be given, and limiting molar conductivity of NaCl will be given. We have to take all these three values and substitute here, and then what now simplify. On simplification, we get what? The limiting molar conductivity of the acetic acid, it is we calculate by using the limiting molar conductivity of what? Strong electrolytes. So in this way, we have to understand the concept of the Kohlrausch law. Concept of Kohlrausch law. Following all of you, what is that Kohlrausch law? At infinite dilution, when the dissociation is complete, each ion makes a definite contribution towards the molar conductivity of electrolyte, irrespective of the nature of the other ions with which it is associated. So this is the expression according to the Kohlrausch law. For any weak electrolytes will be given, and the limiting molar conductivity of the strong electrolytes will be given. Using the values of the strong electrolytes, we can find the limiting molar conductivity of the weak electrolyte. So this is a very, very, very important concept. PU level, there will be 2 marks questions. Even in the competitive exams also, based on the Kohlrausch law, there will be some questions. We can find the limiting molar conductivity of any kind of weak electrolyte by knowing the limiting molar conductivities of the strong electrolytes. Okay. For OH also we can take NH4OH. By using the limiting molar conductivity of NH4Cl, limiting molar conductivity of NaCl, NaOH. Okay. By knowing the values of what no? Limiting molar conductivity of ammonium chloride, limiting molar conductivity of NaCl, and the limiting molar conductivity of NaOH. Now we have to find the limiting molar conductivity of what? Ammonium hydroxide. According to Kohlrausch law, how to represent this, how to represent this one according to the Kohlrausch law? Can you tell me? Now here in this weak electrolyte, NH4 plus sign is present, and then hydroxide, and that is OH minus sign is present. In this electrolyte, NH4 plus sign only. In this electrolyte, Cl minus sign only. In this electrolyte, NaOH only. So according to Kohlrausch law, we can write limiting molar conductivity of NH4OH is equals to the limiting molar conductivity of NH4Cl, okay, plus limiting molar conductivity of NaOH minus limiting molar conductivity of NaCl. Because that Na plus ion and Cl minus ion are not present in this electrolyte. That is why the limiting molar conductivity of NaCl is deducted. So this is one of the example regarding the determination of the limiting molar conductivity of weak electrolyte by using what? The limiting molar conductivities of strong electrolyte. So these two, the relations are very important. Based on these two examples also, in the case of what, that numericals, the points will be definitely appearing in the examination. Based on the limiting molar conductivity of ammonium hydroxide, based on the limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid, definitely there will be questions appearing in the examinations, and you should know how to represent the Kohlrausch law, that is mathematically in this manner. Okay. Next one is calculation of degree of dissociation. Degree of dissociation, it is given by the notation alpha. Okay. This is one of the relation regarding what now? The calculation of the degree of dissociation. So now here it is given by the relation. Directly I am telling you, alpha is called what now? The degree of dissociation only. Degree of dissociation is equal to limiting molar conductivity. Here it is molar conductivity of an electrolyte at any given concentration divided by the molar conductivity of the electrolyte at infinite dilution. This is the notation used for the molar conductivity of an electrolyte at infinite dilution. It is molar conductivity of an electrolyte at given concentration. Okay, now here degree of dissociation alpha is given by the relation like this. What is it? Alpha is equal to lambda m c divided by lambda m naught. Lambda m c means molar conductivity of an electrolyte at any concentration. Here no, molar conductivity of an electrolyte at infinite dilution. So using the relation, it is possible to calculate what? Degree of dissociation of weak electrolyte. And one more relation will be there, just will go to that one. Calculation of dissociation constant. Dissociation constant, that is given by the notation K. Calculation of the dissociation constant of electrolyte. So we already studied this one. What is that? No, dissociation constant of the electrolyte. So what is it here? We know that K is equal to C into alpha square divided by 1 minus alpha. This is was studied in the previous year. This is according to the Ostwald's dilution law. For any weak electrolyte, no, we can find a degree of dissociation as well as what? No, dissociation constant. C into alpha square by 1 minus alpha. What is it? C is called here, you know, concentration. Alpha is called what? Degree of dissociation. Here 1 minus alpha it is. And here, you know, what is that? K is called? That is a dissociation constant. Now here, now you substitute the value of alpha here in this relation. What happens? So here now I am writing K is equal to what? C into lambda, alpha value will be, that is lambda m c divided by lambda m naught. Here it is whole square, whole divided by what? 1 minus lambda m c divided by lambda m naught. Okay. On simplification, we get this relation. K is equal to C into, okay, lambda m c divided by lambda m naught into lambda m naught minus lambda m c. So this is a final expression regarding the dissociation constant of the weak electrolyte. Usually these kind of the relations will be useful in case of the competitive exams like either NEET or it may be in the CET or it may be in the case of the JEE and all. We'll remember these two relations. What is it? Degree of dissociation of weak electrolyte and one more, dissociation constant of a weak electrolyte. So these are very, very important only. Okay. Okay students, now we will move towards one of the concept what is called electrolysis. Electrolysis is a very important term. First of all, what is called electrolysis, you know? What is that electrolysis? We use what know that electricity for the different reactions. In order to get what know the different kind of the products, we can use the electrical energy, you know. That's what know that electrical energy playing very important role in case of what know that chemical reactions also. So what is the meant by the term electrolysis? So electrolysis means it is the process of decomposition of a compound into its elements when electricity is passed is called electrolysis. The compound undergoing decomposition into its elements, that when electricity is passed, that is called what? Electrolysis. So this electrolysis process is very, very important only. We should know the term carefully. What is electrolysis? Once again, the process of decomposition of a compound into its elements when electricity is passed is called what? Electrolysis. And here there will be a device that is called what? Electrolytic cell. Electrolytic cell. Electrolytic cell. Electrolytic cell is different from electrochemical cell. You know, Electrochemical cell is the device in which the electrochemical cell is the device in which the chemical energy is converted into electrical energy. That is called electrochemical cell. You know, electrochemical cell means the device in which chemical energy converted into electrical energy. Even galvanic cell it is. Already we have studied that. What is that electrolytic cell? Electrolytic cell means the device in which electrical energy is converted into chemical energy is called what? Electrolytic cell. Following all of you? Just will go through the concept of what no? That electrolytic cell. So what is that electrolytic cell and how it is useful now? These points just we can study now. We will just go through the diagram also. Okay, by means of this diagram we can understand the concept of what no? Electrolysis. Okay, now here now first of all we can take the electrodes, like one is anode and one is a cathode. Usually we prefer what no? The graphite electrodes. Sometime now we prefer that metal electrodes, in which one acts as a anode and one acts as a cathode. So here you see in this diagram there are two electrodes. This is one electrode called anode and this is one electrode called as what no, that cathode. And these two electrodes are connected to the battery as shown in the diagram. Means the anode is connected to the positive terminal of the battery and the cathode is connected to negative terminal of the battery. And the two electrodes are kept in the solution of what that electrolyte. So electrolyte means you already know that there are different types of what that electrolyte. What is called electrolyte, you know? Any substance which conducts electricity either in the aqueous state or in the molten state, that is called what? Electrolyte. And there will be what is called a electrolytic tank. Now here no, in the device what is called a electrolytic cell. This is what is called an electrolytic cell only. Electrolytic cell is the device in which no, electrical energy is converted into the chemical energy. The device in which electrical energy is converted into chemical energy, because we take what no, that battery, we supply what no, electric current, and there will be some chemical change takes place in that electrolyte, and the process is carried out now in that container called what? Electrolytic tank. This electrolytic cell consists of electrolytic tank. What is that electrolytic tank? It is one of the container and it is made of the substances like no, it may be a glass or it may be a wood or it may be what no, that bakelite. By means of the glass or by means of the bakelite or by means of wood we can prepare what no, electrolytic tank. Next, electrodes. It contains what are the electrodes. One will be cathode and one will be anode here. In that diagram, what we have shown now, this is what is the anode and one more electrode, that is called cathode only. And in the container now, electrolytic tank now, we take the corresponding or respective electrolyte we are taking. Now here now at the same time, the source of energy. What is the source of energy? Battery. Any galvanic cell or it may be the battery, we take what now as source of energy. Okay, now here now, what I am telling, if you take what? The sodium chloride substance, or it is the molten NaCl, if you take, what happens? Or if you subjecting NaCl into electrolysis, when it is subjected to the electrolysis process, what happens? First of all, sodium chloride undergoes ionization in the molten condition, gives what? Na plus and Cl minus ion. Following all of you. Now this solution is what? Sodium chloride solution only. That is what electrolyte only now. It ionizes to give what? Na plus and Cl minus ion. Then in case of what now? Reaction, that is reaction taking place at the anode. What is the anode? Anode means the positive electrode only. Positive electrode only. So towards the positive electrode, which ion will be moving? The solution of electrolyte contains what? Na plus and Cl minus. Here no, the Cl minus will be moving towards this electrode, okay? Because the charge on the anode is positive. Now here no, Na plus ion will be moving towards what? This cathode only. That is what we have to write the reaction here. Tell me now, in case of what, the anode, the anion will be moving. Cl minus ion. What happens here, it forms a chlorine gas. It forms what? A chlorine gas will be obtained. You take 2 moles of the chloride ion, 1 mole of the chlorine gas obtained, and then the 2 electrons will be released. This is the reaction taking place on the anode. This reaction is called what? Oxidation. What is called oxidation, Loss of electron is called oxidation. Why it is called anode, Anode means the anion will be moving towards the electrode is called anode. What is the anion? Cl minus ion. Moving towards the anode. There it is discharged in the form of what? Chlorine gas. Now electrons will be released. These electrons will be coming towards cathode through the circuit. Now you tell me, what is the reaction taking place on the cathode? Charge on the cathode will be what? That is negative only. Why it is called cathode? Cations will be moving towards that electrode. It called what? That cation. Now here Na plus will be there. It takes required number of the electrons, forming what? That sodium solid. Like this, the reaction will be taking place. Sodium ion taking required number of the electrons and forming what? Sodium solid. So in this way, we have to understand the concept of electrolysis. Now we can write the reaction. What is it? When NaCl molten solution, okay, if it is subjected to the process of electrolysis, what we are getting, sodium solid and then the chlorine gas. So 2 moles of NaCl, here 2 moles of Na and 1 mole of the chlorine gas will be obtained. So this is the reaction taking place on the anode as well as on the cathode, and it is the overall reaction. When the molten NaCl is subjected to the electrolysis process, it undergoes decomposition to give what? Sodium metal, that is sodium atom. It is deposited on the cathode and chlorine gas will be released or liberated on the anode. So in this way we can understand the concept of what? Electrolysis. Concept of what? Electrolysis. So electrolysis is the process of decomposition of a compound into its elements when electricity is passed. When electricity is passed, the compound is decomposed into its elements. Like NaCl decomposed into Na and chlorine gas. So this is what the reaction taking place in the case of what? Electrolysis of the NaCl. So this is one of the example just I am taking. Like this you can take hydrochloric acid. When it is electrolyzed, what happens? NaOH in aqueous solution, when electrolyzed, what happens? So in this way, this is very, very important only. Electrolysis process is very, very important. Here it is very highly useful. Even particularly industrial it is very important because we can extract more electropositive metals like what? It may be aluminum metal, it may be magnesium metal, okay? It may be the potassium, it may be the sodium, it may be lithium. Following all of you, most of the alkali metals and alkaline earth metals we can extract by means of what? This electrolysis process. By means of what? The electrolysis process. Following all of you, most of the electropositive metals like what? The aluminum, magnesium, even it may be sodium, potassium. Following all these alkali and alkaline earth metals can be extracted by means of electrolysis process. We cannot extract the sodium metal or it may be the aluminum metal by means of what? Pyrometallurgy. That is by means of heating, it is not possible. Suppose sodium metal is very reactive. Even in the room temperature itself it undergoes oxidation very easily. So sodium we cannot extract by means of what? Blast furnace and all. In the high temperature it is not at all possible to extract the sodium metal. Then how to extract the sodium metal? By means of what, this electrolysis process. Most of the electropositive metals can be extracted by means of what, no, this electrolysis process. Hence it is highly useful only. Following all of you. Okay, this is the electrolytic tank, and these two are what, no, electrodes, cathode and anodes, and these two are connected to the one of the source of energy, that is what, that battery we can use, even galvanic cell can also be used, and this is what is called, no, electrolyte. So these points we should know in the case of electrolyte, this is an electrolysis process. So first of all, electrodes. What is it, electrodes? Anode and cathode. What is anode? The electrode at which oxidation takes place is called anode, and the electrode at which reduction takes place is called what? Cathode. Next, what is it? The electrolytic tank. Electrolytic tank means what? It is one of the container. It is made of what, no? Either wood, or it may be glass, even it may be bakelite material, can be used to prepare what, that electrolytic tank. Next, what is it, electrolyte? Electrolyte is a substance through which, no, that electricity is supplied. There some chemical change takes place from one compound to another substances will be getting. That is what the substance electrolyte can be used. So battery means it is a source of energy. Energy can be supplied. Electrical energy, how it can be supplied? Either by using electrochemical cell or by using what, that battery, we can supply electric current. Then the various reactions are taking place. Reaction taking place at the anode is oxidation. The reaction taking place at the cathode is reduction. And finally, we get these kind of the compounds. So this is what the important concept in the case of what, now, the electrolysis process. Okay. Now what are the factors? Factors affecting the products of electrolysis. Factors affecting the products of electrolysis. So first factor is nature of the material used. Nature of the material used. Second one is type of or types of electrode, or the type of the electrode. Type of electrode. And third one is over potential. Over potential. Following. Next, fourth one is electrode reactions. Electrode reactions. These are the four factors which affect the products of electrolysis. Means during the formation of the product, when electricity is supplied, these factors will be important criteria. What is the first one? Nature of the material is used. Nature of the material is used. Means what? The product of electrolysis, depending upon the nature of the material, nature of the electrolyte. Here, you know, in case of the sodium chloride molten, if you take molten, you are getting what? Sodium metal and chlorine gas will be produced. Instead of the molten NaCl, if you take aqueous NaCl solution, then the product will not be Na and then Cl2. The products are different. You are getting what now? Sodium hydroxide. You are getting what, you know? Hydrogen gas. You are getting what now? That other substances like chlorine gas. In that way, when you take aqueous NaCl solution, the products will be different when compared to the molten NaCl solution. This is what is called the products of electrolysis formed depending upon the nature of material. Next, second one, type of electrode. This is very important only because, you know, in the case of electrolysis process, we take the platinum metal, sometimes we take what, no? The gold metal. These electrodes do not participate in the reaction. Even these are called inert electrodes. Platinum electrodes or gold electrodes no, are called what? Inert electrodes. Means they do not take part in the reaction. But in other cases no, electrodes may involve in the reaction. It may dissolve or on the surface of which no, some substance will be deposited. In that way, there some case of electrodes they involve in what the chemical reaction itself. Hence, the products formed during electrolysis process also depending upon one of the factor called what no, type of electrodes, whether they are inert electrodes or active electrodes. If inert electrodes like platinum or gold no, they do not take part in the reaction. If active electrodes like magnesium or sodium or copper like that no, they take part in the reaction. So in that way, the products formed during electrolysis depending upon what type of electrodes used. And the next one, over potential. What is this over potential? It is very important term also. Over potential, nothing but over voltage also. What is over potential? You know, thermodynamically feasible process. Some of the thermodynamically feasible process which do not take place because no, they are very very slow. They require what? Some extra potential than the normal or than their theoretical value of their electrode potential. In that way, during the electrolysis process, they require some extra voltage, some extra potential than their theoretical value of the potential. That is called what? Over potential or over voltage. If we do not supply the over potential, the product will be different from the normal theoretical value of their potential. Hence, this is one of the factor on which the products of electrolysis depending. And the next one, electrode reactions. This is very very important also, electrode reactions. Just I am taking an example of this one regarding what now, electrode reactions. Reaction taking place on cathode or reaction taking place on the cathode or it may be at a cathode. I take the example like sodium. So sodium ion having +1 charge, okay, it takes up only 1 electron to form what? The sodium metal, to form sodium metal. So this is one of the reaction regarding cathode or cathodic reaction, one of the example regarding cathodic reaction. And what is the value of the E0? You know, here the standard reduction potential will be minus 2.71 volts, minus 2.71 volt. And similarly, if we take H2O following, even it undergoes what no? Reduction and forming what you know here, hydrogen gas. Half moles of hydrogen gas will be produced during the process, and then the OH minus ion will be produced, okay. And value of E0, value of E0 is equal to minus 0.41 volt, okay. I am giving you the two reactions. In the case of what no, chemical reactions, or in the case of what no, electrode reactions, on the cathode, the two possible reactions are there. Is it not? One is reduction of sodium ion into sodium, and one more is reduction of water into hydrogen gas and hydroxide ion. So which is possible during the process? The product of electrolysis depending upon the discharge potential, depending upon the discharge potential. Now you see sodium ion to sodium metal, the potential will be like this. How much it is? Reduction potential is minus 2.71 volt, and reduction potential of the water to hydrogen and hydroxide ion will be minus 0.41 volts. Which is a higher value? Minus 0.41 volt or minus 2.71 volt? Which is a higher value? You know, which is a higher value? So here this is the higher value. Following, instead of what? This sodium into the sodium solid, sodium ion into sodium solid, the reduction of water into hydrogen will be taking place. Means the product of electrolysis depending upon the electrode reactions. In case of electrode reactions, which is having a high reduction potential here, that will be taking place on the cathode. Then what is the reduction taking place on the anode, you know? In case of anode, I write one of the example. In case of anode, I am taking one of the example. Anode means positive charge. If I take suppose sulfate ion in aqueous state, so what happens, you know, here it undergoes oxidation, giving what? S2O8 minus 2 ion, and there will be loss of 2 electrons. The value of electrode potential will be like this, minus 2.31 volts. And I take one more example for this. Same oxidation of water I take. Oxidation of water. Here now water undergoes oxidation and gives what? Here oxygen gas. And then hydrogen ion. And then loss of electrons. So here half moles, here 2 moles and 2 electrons. And the value of E naught, here the value of E naught is equal to minus 1.23. Minus 1.23. Okay, now you see this. In case of this one, the oxidation potential values are given. Oxidation potential, here also it is oxidation potential. Oxidation potential of the sulfate ion into persulfate ion. Oxidation potential of water into oxygen and hydrogen. So I just mentioned here in the aqueous state. I just mentioned it is a liquid. Now, which is a high oxidation potential, that reaction will be taking place here. Among the two values, minus 2.31 and minus 1.23, which is the highest value, you know, minus 1.23 is highest oxidation potential. Therefore, on the anode, oxidation takes place by means of this reaction, that is water into oxygen instead of what, no, sulfate into persulfate ion. So these are the points we should know very well regarding the factors affecting the products of electrolysis. What are the factors affecting the products of electrolysis? You know, nature of the material is used, that is electrolyte material, and the type of electrode, that is what, no, type of electrode means it is depending upon the nature, or that is type. Active electrodes and inert electrodes will be there. And the next one is over potential. Over potential, what is the meaning of the term over potential? You know, the minimum extra potential is required to discharge an ion on the electrode than its theoretical value. That is called what? Over potential or over voltage. Next, one more term or one more factor, what is called electrode reactions. The products formed during the electrolysis process also depending upon what? That is electrode reaction. Suppose here not cathode, reduction will be taking place. On the anode, oxidation is taking place. Among the two reduction which is possible, which is having a high reduction potential, that will be taking place. Among the two oxidation reactions which is taking place, which is having a high oxidation potential. Oxidation potential of the sulfate into persulfate minus 2.3 volts. Oxidation potential of water into the oxygen, that is minus 1.23. Therefore, here this reaction is possible, and here now this reaction is possible. So in that way, we have to understand the concept of what, no, electrolysis, and what are the different parts in that electrolytic tank, or it may be in the electrolytic cell. And one more like this, that is what, no, factors affecting the products of electrolysis. So these are all very, very important points only.